Good morning everyone. Now we are going to discuss about airway management. Before we see that, once we go through home oxygen therapy. Home oxygen therapy is available to clients who require continuous oxygen therapy at home. It is usually delivered by nasal cannula. By nasal cannula, deliver the oxygen to the patient in home. What is the main purpose? To provide continuous oxygen therapy for patient. Continuous oxygen therapy. Okay. And what are the main preparation? Explain the procedures step by step to the patients and their relatives to confidence, and explain about the safety precautions. And what are the equipment needed for this oxygen therapy? Nasal cannula and primary and portable liquid oxygen source for ambulation. And procedure: explain the procedure to the client and family, and wash hands. Demonstrate steps for preparation and completion of oxygen therapy. We have to educate the clients because the relatives and neighbors only stay with that patient, so we have to give confidence to the family. And prepare primary and portable oxygen. And the next one, place primary oxygen source in clutter free environment, and check oxygen levels of both sources by reading gauge on top, and check oxygen gauge. And after that, to select prescribed rate and connect nasal cannula and oxygen tubing to the oxygen, and have client and family perform each step with guidance from the nurse. And we have to teach about the home oxygen therapy to the relatives and family and patient also. And the nurse coordinates the efforts of the client and family, home call nurse or home respiratory therapist, home oxygen equipment vendor. Coordinates: nurse must be coordinates the efforts of the client and family, and the nurse must assist the client and family in learning about the home oxygen and ensure their ability to maintain the oxygen delivery system. And what are the complications? Bulky, possibly unslightly frequent refilling necessary with continuous use. This is about home oxygen therapy. It is a continuous to provide continuous oxygen therapy for patients at home. It is usually delivered by nasal cannula. And after that, basic airway management. And airway management is a set of medical procedures performed in order to prevent airway obstruction. To prevent airway obstruction, we have performed a medical procedures and a set of medical procedures performed in order to prevent airway obstruction, and that ensure an open pathway between a patient's lungs and the outside world. Obstruction of the airways is a medical emergency. If any obstruction will be there at the patient's in the patient's airway, that may be an emergency situation. It may be partial or completely and may occur at any level of the respiratory tract. If untreated, airway obstruction leads to a lowered blood oxygen tension and risk hypoxic damage to the brain, kidneys and heart, or even death also. And after that, here this is accomplished by clearing or preventing obstructions of airways, often referred to as choking, caused by the tongue, the airways themselves, foreign bodies, or any materials from the body itself, such as blood or stomach content, the latter resulting in aspiration. And the airway management can be divided into two categories: basic and advanced. Basic and advanced airway management. And the basic techniques are simple to perform even by non-healthcare professionals and do not require use of medical equipment. And after that, there may be advanced airway management is further categorized in increasing order of invasiveness into supraglottic devices such as oropharyngeal or nasopharyngeal airways, followed by infraglottic techniques such as tracheal intubation, and finally surgical methods. Okay, these are the about airway management. And the main causes of airway obstruction are decreased muscle tone, vomit, blood, and regurgitation of stomach contents, and trauma, foreign bodies, and edema. And inflammation means any redness or any swelling occurs at the airway, in the airway. And anaphylaxis, that means anaphylactic reactions. Okay, hypersensitivity reactions and excessive bronchial secretions and mucosal edema. And after that, any bronchospasm and pulmonary edema, aspiration of gastric contents. These are the main causes of airway obstruction. They are decreased muscle tone, any vomiting and blood, regurgitation of stomach contents, and trauma, any foreign bodies, obstruction at the airways, and edema, inflammation, anaphylactic reactions, and excessive bronchial secretions, and mucosal edema, bronchospasm, pulmonary edema, aspiration of gastric contents. These are the main causes of airway obstruction. Okay. And after that, how to recognize recognition of obstruction? We have to inspiratory stridor, upper airway problem, and expiratory wheezing, lower airway problem. And complete obstruction will be there. Caesar respirations we observe, and after any wheezing, stridor, and Caesar respirations, and central cyanosis is a late sign of airway obstruction. Okay, these are the how to recognize airway obstruction: stridor and wheezing sounds and Caesar respirations. And after that, any airway obstruction will be there. There will be a late sign called central cyanosis. And after that, in complete upper airway obstruction, there are no breath sounds at the mouth or nose. In complete airway obstruction, there will be no breath sounds at the mouth or nose. In partial obstruction, air entry is diminished and often noisy, and certain noises assist in localizing the level of the obstruction. And gurgling suggests the presence of liquid in the mouth or upper airways, and snoring also will be there. And after that, crowing and stridor, wheezing sounds will be there. Example, asthma patients. And in majority of cases, the use of simple methods is all that is required to open the airway, such as section to remove secretions, use of head tilt and chin lift, manure, or the insertion of an oropharyngeal or nasopharyngeal airway. And management of airway obstruction are mainly suction to remove secretions and use head tilt, and if any insertion of an oropharyngeal and nasopharyngeal airways. Okay, these are the main methods used to treat these airway obstructions. And first one, suctioning. We see later classes suction procedures and how to give suction to the patient. Okay, and before that, management of airway obstruction we'll seen already, to remove the secretions by suctioning and use of head tilt, chin lift, and nasopharyngeal airway and oropharyngeal airway insertion. First we see these four. Simple airway adjuncts. Simple airway adjuncts may assist maintenance of an airway in either the spontaneously breathing or ventilated patient, and may be useful if prolonged resuscitation is undertaken without formal endotracheal intubation. And they can be used in addition to head tilt and chin lift or jaw thrust. And after that, there are two commonest are there: oropharyngeal and nasopharyngeal airways. Okay, and first one, nasopharyngeal airway. How to insert? The correct size airway is chosen by measuring the device on the patient, and the device should reach from the patient nostril to the ear lobe or the angle of the jaw. Okay, and after that the outside of the tube is lubricated with a water based lubricant so that it enters the nose more easily, and the device is inserted until the flared end rests against the nostril. Some tubes contain a safety pin to prevent inserting the tube too deeply, and care must be taken to ensure the pin does not stick into the nostril. And in the event that a pin is not available, you may also stop insertion just short of the natural gag reflex. And after that, what are the main advantages of naso these tubes? Easier to stabilize and may be better tolerated by some patients. And after that, oral hygiene is easily accomplished, and it is easier and safer. And in nasopharyngeal airway, only airway device tolerated by the conscious patient and may be life saving in people with clenched jaws, and should not be used where there is evidence of fracture of the base of the skull. And size to use, we have to check what is the size of this tube. And to prevent inhalation or passing of the nasopharyngeal airway too far into the nasal cavity, a safety pin, if provided, must be inserted through the flange. And after that, some models are there, so we have to check that one and check nostril patency and airway level and fast. And after that, if obstruction fell, try other nostril, and tip should lie in the pharynx and nasopharyngeal airway like this. Okay, like this, the tube inserted in the one nostril. If any obstruction in the nostril, we have to choose another nostril and to insert the tube. Okay, to prevent inhalation or passing of the nasopharyngeal airway too far into the nasal cavity. Okay, and after that we must check before inserted the tube, we must check the size. And okay, and after that, oropharyngeal airways, curved plastic tubes and incisors to angle of the jaw. Incisors should be level with some part of the bite block and should only be used in the unconscious patient, as stimulation of the gag reflex may result in vomiting, and the stimulation of the laryngeal reflex may result in laryngospasm and should be used in the unconscious patient. If any stimulation occurs, means gag reflex and may result in vomiting in conscious patient. So this procedure, oropharyngeal airways, must be done in unconscious patient, and open mouth and ensure no foreign material, and introduce into oral cavity inserted 180 degrees passes below palate, and any coughing or retching should prompt removal of the airway. And after insertion, check airway with look, listen and felt. And this is oropharyngeal airway like this. We have to put that and to insert the tube through the oropharynx. Is the patient breathing? Yes. Give additional oxygen via a mask with reservoir bag, and set oxygen flow rate 10 to 15 liters per minute. According based on their oxygen saturations, we have to increase or decrease the oxygen flow rate. If no means but has a pulse but breathing no means, if the patient stop breathing, you need to ventilate. Methods of ventilation includes mouth to mouth and basic life support. Already we discussed in previous classes. CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, mouth to mouth ventilation and pocket mask, and left self inflating bag valve mask. And using a pocket face mask allows easier ventilation with jaw thrust and can be used with head tilt and chin lift. Okay, And non-return valve prevents rescuer from rebreathing victims' expired air and removes need for mouth-to-mouth ventilation but administer only 16% of O2 concentration. And after that, high flow rate oxygen can improve oxygenation markedly 10 to 15 liters per minute. And after that, we have to apply face mask to face using thumbs of both hands and lift jaw using pressure applied to angles of the jaw by fingers and blow through inspiratory valve. And watch chest rise and fall. Any leaks can be reduced or abolished by adjusting position of mask, contact pressure, position of digits or altering jaw thrust. Okay, and apply oxygen via input nipple at 10 to 15 liters per minute if available. And after that, Bagwal mask applied to face and contact and jaw lift are maintained with two hands. And the bag is squeezed by a second person to deliver approximately 500 milliliters of air per breath. And watch chest rise and fall and attaching oxygen at a high flow. And after that, ideally there should be a filter in situ. And self-inflating bag wall mask like this is bag wall mask 2% techniques. While giving this, we must have 2% near the patient side. The 2% approach to using this device is desirable as the BVM is not easy to use. And after that, resuscitation council in UK, there should be recommended hospital policies, and single person usage is permissible if there is no one else to assist or the individual has the prerequisite skill to use the device. Okay, like this Bagwal mask, only one person with because there is no need to assist anyone. And delivery of oxygen mouth to mouth and mouth to mask and mask and bag. This is endotracheal tube and this is tracheostomy tubes. We see later classes about tracheostomy. In endotracheal tubes, an endotracheal tube is indicated when a patient's airway requires any airway protection and tracheal suctioning, or when ventilation is necessary. There may be inserted nasally or orally, and these tubes may be inserted nasally or orally. And these oral endotracheal tubes have a performed curve at a 450 angle, and nasal endotracheal tubes have a performed curved at a 600 angle. Once the selected tube is in place, the distal tip rests in the trachea just above the carina, and after that, ventilation may still be possible through this opening. Okay, and this is endotracheal tube. And there also is an inflammable cuff attached near the distal and cuff adult tubes. Cuff inflation seals the airway, so all ventilation must occur through the endotracheal tubes. And we must see the sizes of endotracheal tube. And after that, tracheostomy tubes. In tracheostomy tubes also are inserted into the trachea, but insertion is through a tracheal stoma. And they are similar to an endotracheal tube but much shorter and more rigid. And the tracheostomy tube have an inner and outer cannula and obturator and inflammable cuff. Okay, inflammable cuff and inner and inner cannula. This device can be removed to clean secretions and blood from and this is inner cannula. Remove to clean secretions and blood from the interior surface without removing the entire tube. Okay, and after that the obturator prevents blood or mucus from entering the tube as it is being inserted and provides a tapped surface, and it is removed when the tube is in proper position. And after that, neck plate or flange, this enables the tube. Some surgeons initially suture the flange of the patient's neck. These sutures are removed in approximately 3 to 5 days by the surgeon or respiratory therapist. Okay, and cuff seal the airway to allow positive pressure ventilation and minimize the risk of the aspiration of stomach contents into the lungs. And it minimizes the risk of aspiration of stomach contents into the lungs. This is all about tracheostomy tubes. Okay, an opening near the neck, lower neck, in unconscious patients only. Okay, and this is about airway management. In airway management, there are oropharyngeal and nasopharyngeal and endotracheal tubes and tracheostomy tubes. There are 4. Once you go through it, airway management is a set of medical procedures performed in order to prevent airway obstruction and thus ensuring an open pathway between a patient lungs and the outside the world. And these are all the devices used for clear the airway obstruction. Okay, if the person may suffer with any obstruction in the lungs, that may clear. Okay, and this may be cleared through these devices: oropharyngeal airway and nasopharyngeal airway, and after that tracheostomy tubes and endotracheal tubes. Normal airways and breathing. Normally air travels into the lungs via the windpipe, that is trachea, and it goes down a series of branching airways called bronchi, and these branches into smaller bronchioles and then into millions of tiny airway sacs called alveoli. Okay, you should remember normal airways and breathing. The air travels into the lungs via the trachea and it goes down a series of branching airways called or known as bronchi, and these are branches into smaller bronchioles and then into millions of air sacs, tiny air sacs called alveoli. And the oxygen in the air passes through the thin walls of the alveoli into the tiny blood vessels nearby, and the oxygen attaches to red blood cells and is carried in the blood cells to rest of the body. Okay, and these oxygen may attaches to the red blood cells and is carried in the blood vessels to rest of the body. This is about normal airways and breathing. If any obstruction in the alveoli or any bronchi or any airway tract, there may be any obstruction will be there. In that conditions we observe difficulty to breathe. Okay, because of to prevent that any obstructions in the airway, we use oropharyngeal and nasopharyngeal, endotracheal tubes and tracheostomy tubes, and mechanical ventilation means positive pressure ventilation. Okay, this is all about airway management. In after classes we see artificial airway management, how to give the artificial airway management to the patient. Thank you.